So we're going, continuing on with our series on the Untethered Soul. Beautiful book. So if you want to get it online at Amazon, you can. I think we still have a few copies here. It's possible. We have many groups gathering here, studying about this. And really, that's the way this goes deeper, is reading the book, gathering with like-minded people, having rich and deep conversations. And so what I know is when I'm hanging out with you all, in a comfortable place at home, and you see me and I see you and we see the brilliance, and something magical happens. I might even say something more brilliant and go, where did that come from? And that's where the real honesty and truth comes, is when we really become vulnerable and allow ourselves to share at that deeper level. And the learning goes so much deeper than me just blabbing at you and telling you what the book says. That's interesting, but there's something that changes us when we, go deeply. Because I'm all about transformation, right? You're so tired of hearing that. You're not supposed to say yes. Okay, good. So today's talk is called Going Beyond the Imagined Limits. Going beyond the imagined limits. So yesterday we also did the Q process, and such a wonderful practice. My colleagues, Reverend Margie and St. Mary Paulson over here, are joining me in this grand jury of the Q process, which is really a beautiful practice of waking up spiritually and really understanding the difference between when I'm in my Christed self-expression and when I'm in my shadowy or egoic state. And just becoming aware of that. And that does require bravery, right? Yeah. We sort of have to be brave to look into those dark places. But the truth is all we're doing is bringing the light into those dark places. And it's truly a transformational experience. So I hope you'll join us the next time. So what we've also been talking about is in this world, we see a lot of bumping into our fears and avoiding uncomfortable situations. Yes? Yeah, we don't really want to walk into those difficult things. Most of us would do anything to not have a confrontation, to not hang out with those people that disagree with us. But we're seeking to sort of control and protect ourselves all along the way. And sometimes those protections and controlling create more than just comfort. They create barriers. They create cages. They create a boundary between my authentic self and my egoic self. Jesus said, for whoever wants to save their life will lose it. But whoever loses their life for me will find it. So what's that saying is whoever wants to save their egoic life, the part of them that is separate from the divine, that they're going to lose it, that we will end up, being separate. But whoever loses their life for me, the life of the Christ, will have it when we really get that we are the ones. We are the ones that have come here to awaken to our true nature, which is divine. So this beautiful teaching, sometimes we err in thinking that our safety is our greatest need. We need to be safe. And so like ships made for sailing, our souls experience their true purpose and capacities when they leave safe harbors and venture into the sea of life. That we are not meant to be sitting in the harbor. We are meant to sail, to go out to sea. So the untethered soul is about untethering the limited beliefs that keep us stuck in the harbor, keep us stuck in the safe places. And so A good question always is it possible that there is an imagined cage in our minds? Yes, is the answer. It's very possible. Because what limits us is rarely people, circumstances, or events. It's usually our response to those things. So this week we're talking about going beyond the imagined limits. Going beyond means beyond the boundaries of a cage, beyond the boundaries of what our previous limit was. So our soul is infinite, yes? It is constantly want to grow and thrive and evolve. And the ego is sort of, let's be safe. Let's not speak out. Let's stay small. Because when we're quiet and don't say anything, everybody's happy. So we tell the mind, I don't want anybody to be against me. I don't want anybody to say anything I won't like. I don't want anyone to start a conversation that is uncomfortable for me. So it goes around trying to fix everything out here so that we could be comfortable in here. Pretty insane, yes? Whoops. Yes. Pretty insane, yes? Yes. It is. It's sort of an insane thing. So we want to look at these things we ask the mind to do. It's sort of an impossibility. So we want to be free to expand, free to experience all of life. And this can only happen when we're willing to face reality without our mental boundaries. So if we still have barriers, and you know what they are, because we hit them every day, don't we? We hit them every day when life seems to be against us. So a cage by any other name is still a cage, right? We could change the name, we could beautify it, we could change the color, we could put flowers in it, make it more wonderful, more maybe some pillows, but it's still a cage, yes, and we women know that to be true, right? We try to make what is more wonderful, and so, but the soul is wanting us to expand the walls, yes? Yes, that we don't have to stay confined to these thoughts, to this idea. So we must be willing to go beyond. Go beyond what is comfortable. So when we come to the fork in the road, and we will, you and I, we must choose between the path of contraction and resistance and suffering and stuckness, or the other way, which is expansion and surrender, awareness, freedom. Sometimes we must choose between self-protection or safety and growth and change. There's polarity, isn't there, in our life? That yes, we want to be safe and we want protection, and yet we know our soul wants to grow. And how do we do that? So there is that beautiful balance. Sort of like somewhere I read, there's this tree, growing in us, and we want to get it to grow, not too big where it pulls out the body, and not too small where we shrink in, but just right. So we grow at the pace of guidance, not rushing, not forcing, but allowing and being with. Because this universe wants us to grow, and it will provide us opportunities to do that. And it is then up to us to utilize life experiences, yes, to grow, to not run from them, to say, wow, I'm wondering how I can use even this challenge to express more of who I've come here to be, rather than shrinking into a shadowy thought of I'm not good enough, I don't know enough, I don't have enough. is, boy, if this is before me, it must be for me, because the universe is a friendly place. The universe is constantly sourcing and creating for my own good. Yes? Yes. So we get to choose, yes, each time, whether we contract and shrink or we expand and grow. Always. And some require more bravery than others. Yes. I want to see you be brave. And I already have seen you be brave. So many of you be brave. Just doing this work is bravery. Yes? Yes. No one said that, embodying would be all that easy. We keep looking for the road to comfort and ease. And every now and then I really would like that. Yes? That's the balance, if we're always in a state of continual growth and managing and, oh my gosh, we get exhausted. So we do need to balance that. I know that in this work, in ministry, and Margie has contested to this, it'll ask you to go way farther than you can physically go. Do many more hours than you can physically do. So we are the ones, and probably in your profession as well, that has to say, no, thank you. No is just as wonderful as your yes. And I will always say that. If I ask you to do, and I always do, right, Diana? Where's Diana? The night before, I have all these brilliant ideas that come to me. Oh, let's do this, let's do that. And so I want to let you know, Diana, right now, your no is just as lovely as your yes. Yes? That it's important, because if you give me a yes and it's really a no, we are both going to be miserable. Yes? Exactly. So it's important that we stay in alignment with our authenticity. So as I talk about cages, there's this great story about Mohini. Mohini is a white tiger that was given to President Eisenhower in the 1960s. And he was a special gift, and for many years, Mohini lived in a lion house, which was a 12 by 12 cage. And it was cement and bars. And the intention of President Eisenhower and his group was to eventually, build a habitat for her that would be beautiful and lovely and have, a garden and trees and nature and beauty and grass and dirt and all the things that it would love to live in. But it took quite a while to build this habitat, and by the time they did, Mohini was very entrenched in this 12 by 12 cage. So when they released her into this beautiful space, she immediately went to the back of where a wall was and started her, walk in this 12 by 12 space that was still in her mind. She wasn't able to get out of that cage. She continued in her habitual patterns to walk in circles around this place that was safe to her, that felt protective. And it's sad to sort of think that she paced around some imaginary cage, and even sadder that someone didn't try to convince her to get beyond those boundaries. Yes? So that's what we're doing, yeah? That, as a teacher of these truths, we're inviting us to get beyond our boundaries. Not before you're ready, in your time. But I'm always going to be nudging you. I just hope I don't push you, okay? You just sort of let me know. We're going to go at the pace of guidance, Denise. Remember, we talked about that. Yeah. So, this beautiful tiger, as you and I, created an imaginary boundary. And unfortunately, this tiger was never able to let go of that boundary. So we need each other. We need buddies, spiritual buddies, that will honestly tell us when it's time to get out of the cage. Yes? Yes. We need people to sort of give us a little nudge when we're sort of stuck in our habitual patterns of not enoughness. And that's what spiritual community can do. It can support us in this spiritual growth, in the evolution of consciousness when it wants to stay small because it wants to protect and keep us safe. But that's not what the soul is here for. It will constantly yearn for that beautiful growth. So a cage doesn't have to necessarily look like a cage. A cage can be created by your fear of discomfort. And so as we approach our limits, we begin to feel uncomfortable and insecure. And so maybe we can use that sense of uncomfortableness and insecurity to recognize we're going beyond. It's not a bad thing, right? I'm just going beyond my comfort zone. Okay, what do I need? What do I need to go beyond my comfort zone? I need support. I need faith. Yes? These are all tools that we have. We have the Q process and prayer and so many other wonderful tools to help us as we go beyond these imaginary boundaries. So many of you have seen this movie, I'm sure, that I'm about to describe to you. And it's a beautiful movie called The Truman Show. Anybody see the movie with Jim Carrey, The Truman Show? It was a long ago, so I'm not, letting any secret out. If you haven't seen it, oh well, right? It's over 10 years old. But it's a quest drama that speaks to the yearnings that each and every one of us has to explore this wider world, to smash these self-imposed chains of fear, and to find the kind of love that makes our hearts do somersaults. And so it's this beautiful idea of that freedom as human beings we have as our innate right and privilege. And some of us give up that freedom, some by choice and some not by choice. So this Truman Show is about this idea of wanting to create in a utopia so we don't get triggered. So life is so perfect and wonderful that nobody says anything I don't like, that everyone gets along, we're all sharing our toys, right? And so the producer of this show, his name is Christoph, which is perfect. It's the Antichrist, right? Wanting to keep the soul confined in a well-protected area without allowing him his freedom. And he thinks he's doing this person a favor when indeed he's imprisoning him. And he actually adopts this boy, Truman, as a baby, born of an unwed mother, and raises it up and shows it to the world. And everyone in Truman's world is an actor. And they create a city and county and a world around him. But the problem is that it's not real, and it's really not the true man like Truman. It's not authentic. So though it's very real, he's oblivious to the fact that this is man-made. He believes that he's living in the world that you and I live in. So Truman is a human being regardless of what Christoph is trying to create for him. He has needs and feelings. And so finally, as he grows up, he falls in love with this woman. And Christoph pulls this woman off the set and sends her away because he doesn't want her to spoil what's happening here. So Truman is very upset and sad that his beloved has left, and she tries to get to him. But he finally decides to leave this idyllic town and go and search for his lost love. And he's just about to get out when this clip happens. And this is the precise moment that Truman hears for the first time in his life this resonating voice of the creator of the television show. And we're certain that he knows how Truman will respond. So he encourages him to stay. Let's see what Truman chooses at the end. Such a powerful moment when he chooses expansion, right? When he chooses not the fork of contraction and less than, but to go forward with expanding his world. So this is us, yes? This is us wanting to be brave, and so this is our moment in time, as always, to choose to express more of our God-given self, the Christ in us, to let go of any confines or cages or limiting beliefs and be your most brilliant selves. God bless you. Thank you.